I stand alone in the bridal suite at Willamette Valley Vineyard, staring at my reflection in the full-length mirror. My wedding dress fits flawlessly, every seam and crystal resting exactly where it belongs. The makeup artist has truly outdone herself. My eyes appear brighter, my cheekbones more sculpted, my lips tinted the perfect shade of rose. The bouquet of white roses lies on the vanity, waiting quietly. I glance at my phone for the 14th time in 20 minutes. No messages from Mom, nothing from Dad, not even a single text from Logan. A gentle knock interrupts the silence. Martha, the wedding planner, peeks inside, her carefully practiced smile barely concealing her concern. "It's time, Caroline. Are you ready?" My gaze drifts towards the window overlooking the ceremony area. 90 guests sit arranged in orderly rows of white chairs. The soft music of a string quartet floats through the air. And in the front row, 3 empty seats stare back at me like silent accusations. "They're not coming, are they?" My voice quivers despite my effort to stay composed. Martha's expression falters. "There's still time," she says gently, though we both know it isn't true. I inhale deeply and smooth the silk of my gown beneath trembling hands. "Let's go." The garden doors open, and 90 heads turn as I walk down the aisle alone. Their sympathetic looks brush against me like physical touches, small gestures of pity that make my skin prickle. Some whisper quietly behind their hands, others offer encouraging smiles that only deepen the hollow ache expanding inside my chest. I force my focus forward, locking my gaze on Ethan waiting at the altar. His eyes hold mine with unwavering steadiness. The love radiating from him almost drowns out the memory of my mother's voice from 3 days earlier. "We'll try, sweetie. Logan's firm has an event that weekend." Her dismissive tone had cut through the phone like she was declining a casual invitation, not her only daughter's wedding. "I can pay for the flights," I had pleaded, desperation tightening my throat. "The hotel. Anything. Please, Mom." In the background, my father's voice drifted through the receiver. "Tell her we're busy." Now, step by step, I force myself to breathe. In, out. 1 foot forward, then another. I will not cry. I will not give them the satisfaction, even in their absence. When I finally reach Ethan, he takes my hands in his. His touch is warm, steady, grounding. "I'm here," he whispers softly. "We're enough." For a brief moment, I am 8 years old again, standing in our living room while Mom and Dad fuss over Logan's debate trophy. They position it carefully on the mantel, stepping back to admire it from every angle, taking photographs to send to relatives. Meanwhile, my art contest certificate remains forgotten in a kitchen drawer. I had shown it to them earlier that day, pride swelling as I explained how my teacher said I had exceptional talent. Mom barely glanced at it. "That's nice, honey," she had said before returning to the dinner she was preparing. Later, Dad had absent-mindedly patted my head. "Logan needs more support. He's going places." He'd explained this when I asked why they attended all his events but missed my art showcase. "You understand, don't you, Caroline?" And Mom, never missing the chance to compare, would say, "Why can't you be more like your brother? He focuses on what matters." After that, I tried harder. Academic awards, college scholarships, business success. Each achievement a desperate attempt to draw their attention. Each one met with distracted acknowledgement, if it was acknowledged at all. The ceremony unfolds around me. I recite my vows, my voice strengthening with every word. "I choose a future built on seeing one another clearly," I tell Ethan, the meaning behind my words understood only by him. When we are pronounced husband and wife, Ethan's mother wraps me in a warm embrace. "You're one of us now, dear," she whispers, and something tight within my chest loosens slightly. The photographer captures us dancing beneath glowing string lights, Ethan twirling me gently. His cousins surround us, forming a circle of laughter and music. For brief moments, I forget the family-shaped absence overshadowing my celebration. I forget the phone I've checked endlessly. I forget the explanations offered to curious guests. At the reception, my college roommate Sarah raises her glass. "To finding the family who truly deserves you," she declares, her gaze fierce and unwavering. A murmur of agreement spreads through the crowd. The truth of her words strikes with unexpected force. All these years, I had been invisible to those who should have seen me most clearly. I had chased approval from people who never intended to give it. When the celebration quiets for a moment, I slip away to check my phone one final time. No missed calls, no messages, not even a token congratulations. Ethan finds me staring at the blank screen. "They missed something beautiful today," he says softly, slipping an arm around my waist. I look at him, the man who has never made me feel like I needed to earn his attention. I think of his family, who welcomed me without hesitation. I think of friends who traveled across the country to stand beside me. I set the phone aside. Their choice, I say quietly, feeling lighter than I have in years, not my burden. And for the first time, I almost believe it. 2 years later, I lean back in my ergonomic chair, staring at the glowing words on my computer screen. Acquisition of Crescent Motion Studio, finalized at $21 million. 2 years of negotiation, 5 years of building from nothing, and validation now measured in 8 figures. My office door bursts open as my team pours in, carrying bottles of champagne and plastic flutes. To Caroline, Jen, my creative director, announces, raising her glass. The woman who built something extraordinary while certain people were paying attention. I smile, clinking glasses with 12 people who actually showed up for me, unlike my family. As we celebrate, my phone buzzes. An Instagram notification. Logan posting about his twins' private school fundraiser. I shouldn't look, but I do. There they are, mom and dad standing beside Logan and his wife Hannah. Their identical daughters wear matching plaid uniforms. The caption reads, "Family tradition continues. 3rd generation at Westridge Academy." Dad's arm rests proudly around Logan's shoulder. Mom beams at her granddaughters. I scroll through more photos. A family vacation in Hawaii. A holiday gathering I was never invited to attend. Dad's retirement celebration. In every image, they resemble the perfect family, minus one daughter. What the photos represent speaks even louder. The Maui rental costs thousands each week. Westridge Academy charges $30,000 annually per child. Logan's home, visible in several pictures, sits in a neighborhood where properties sell for no less than $2 million, all funded by my parents' retirement savings and family investments, according to distant cousins who occasionally remember I exist. "Caroline," Jen touches my arm. "We lost you for a moment." I lock my phone. Just checking messages. Where were we? The celebration continues, but my mind runs calculations. Logan's law firm is respectable, but nowhere near capable of sustaining his lifestyle. My parents have quietly supported him for years, draining them retirement to maintain his image. Meanwhile, my $21 million acquisition doesn't warrant even a text.
After my team leaves, I scroll through my parents' social media accounts. Hundreds of posts celebrating Logan's achievements, the twins' milestones, family gatherings. My presence appears only once, a generic birthday message last year, without even a photo. I close my laptop and make a decision. The following morning, I call my financial advisor. The Porsche Taycan Metallic Gray. I want to complete the purchase today. 3 hours later, I sign paperwork for a $135,000 car. It is extravagant, unnecessary, and exactly what I want. Not because I need my family's approval, but because I never needed their money. At home, I photograph the car in my driveway, sunlight reflecting off its sleek metallic finish. I post the image to Instagram with a simple caption, "Dreams realized." For 3 days, nothing. Then Wednesday afternoon, my phone lights up with a name I haven't seen in 5 years. Mom calling. My stomach tightens as I answer. "Hello?" Caroline. Her voice carries that familiar mixture of authority and urgency she reserves for family emergencies. "We need to talk. Family meeting tomorrow." "Family meeting?" I repeat, disbelief clear in my tone. "After 5 years of silence, that's why you're calling?" "This is important." She pauses, and I hear Dad's voice in the background. "Tell her it's important." "What's important?" I ask. "My wedding wasn't important. My business wasn't important. What exactly matters now?" Her voice grows tense. "It's complicated. Financial issues. We need to discuss it as a family." Of course, they saw the car. They know about the acquisition. Suddenly, I'm family again. "Tomorrow at 2, I reply before ending the call. The next morning, I slide into my new Porsche, the cool leather seat firm against my back. The 40-minute drive to my childhood home gives me time to remember birthdays celebrated without me, achievements ignored, holidays spent alone while they gathered together. I park in the circular driveway, the sleek metallic gray car sharply contrasting with their traditional colonial house. For a moment, I remain seated, gripping the steering wheel. The last time I stood on that porch was 6 years ago, when I announced my engagement to Ethan. Mom had nodded politely while Dad repeatedly checked his watch. They never needed me before. Why now? My phone buzzes with a text from Ethan. "Remember who you are. Call me if you need extraction." I smile faintly. Another notification appears, an email from Naomi Blake, the investor who believed in Crescent Motion when no one else would. "Your worth isn't measured by those who couldn't see it." A final alert arrives from my assistant confirming tomorrow's meetings. Don't let them take too much time. I take a deep breath, recalling my therapist's words from last week. Boundaries aren't punishments, they're protection. I straighten my shoulders and step out of the car. Before I knock, the front door swings open. Mom and Dad stand there, their expressions shifting from annoyance to shock as they notice the porch behind me. "You've done well for yourself," Dad remarks. Not "hello," not "I missed you," just an evaluation. "Yes," I reply simply. They lead me into the dining room where Logan and Hannah already sit, their faces carefully arranged into concerned expressions. "Caroline," Logan says with a nod, as though we spoke recently instead of 5 years ago. "Let's get straight to business," Dad says, pulling out financial folders. I remain standing, my purse clutched tightly, the only sign of the turmoil beneath my calm exterior. "No. First, I want to know why I'm suddenly important enough to be included in family discussions after being excluded from everything else for years." Mom and Dad exchange glances. Logan shifts uncomfortably. "We can discuss that later," Mom says dismissively. "We have more pressing matters." "I'm not in a hurry," I reply, "and I'm not interested in being convenient family only when you need something." For the first time, uncertainty flickers across my father's face. They need me now, and for once, I hold the power to decide what happens next. The dining room of my childhood home feels smaller than memory suggests. Richard sits at the head of the table, hands folded like he's presiding over a corporate meeting rather than a family crisis. Elaine sits beside him, posture rigid, despite the worry etched across her face. Across from me, Logan slouches in his chair, the cuffs of his designer shirt creased. Hannah sits next to him, a leather photo album resting on her lap. "It's foreclosure, Caroline," Richard says, his voice steady but edged with tension. "Logan's mortgage is 3 months overdue. The twins' private school tuition hasn't been paid this semester." I say nothing, allowing the silence to stretch. "You need to help your brother," Richard continues, sliding a document across the polished table, loan paperwork already completed. "Think about your niece and nephew," Elaine says, her voice trembling. "They're just children." Logan leans forward. "We're family. When one of us succeeds, we help the others." Hannah opens the album wider, pushing it toward me. "They ask about Aunt Caroline all the time." She points to smiling children at a birthday party I was never invited to attend. Richard clears his throat. "We've done everything we could. Our retirement fund is—" He trails off, exchanging a look with Elaine. "We've been supporting them as best we can." The implication hangs heavy in the air. My success means obligation. My independence is selfishness. I close the photo album and slide it back across the table. "Where were you at my wedding?" The question leaves my lips with unexpected calm. Logan blinks. "What? My wedding? 2 years ago. Where were you?" Elaine's hand limps to her throat. "We were busy. Logan had that event with his firm." "It wasn't convenient," Dad says flatly. I nod slowly, something inside me solidifying. "And yet you're here now because you saw the Porsche on Instagram. You contacted me because of the car." Logan's face reddens. "That's not fair." "Isn't it?" I sit straighter, feeling the strength of my independence settle into my spine. I built everything alone. Every scholarship, every client, every sleepless night. Where were any of you? Richard's eyes narrow. What does that have to do with the current situation? Everything. I fold my hands on the table. I'm listening. Tell me why I should write a check today. Logan slams his hand down. You always had to prove something, always showing off how smart you were, how creative, how special. Some of us were just trying to live normal lives. Richard places a hand on Logan's shoulder. Your brother had more potential. We had to nurture that. You were always so independent. We're still your parents, Elaine whispers through gathering tears. You were parents in title only, I reply steadily. You missed my high school graduation, my college scholarship ceremony, the launch of my company, my wedding. I top the table with each word. You missed my life. And now you want to share in what that life has built. Caroline, Richard begins. You didn't build this success, I continue calmly. You don't get to claim it. My phone vibrates in my pocket. A message from Ethan asking if I'm okay. The sight of his name reminds me of Naomi Blake's words when she invested in my startup. You don't need approval from anyone who can't see your light. I think of my team at Crescent Motion, their faces glowing as we celebrated the acquisition. People who chose to believe in me. In my briefcase rests the contract for the foundation funding, signed just last week. Richard pushes the loan paperwork closer. We're only asking for what's reasonable. Family helps family.
The interest rate is quite fair, Elaine adds. Logan's smirk returns. Blood is thicker than water, Caro. I rise slowly, deliberately. The movement draws their full attention. I lift my briefcase and place it on the table. I've made a different decision, I say. Logan's gaze fixes on my hands as I open the case. Richard leans forward. Elaine twists her napkin anxiously. Instead of a checkbook, I remove a single document and set it before them. This is the announcement for the Rivera Media Scholarship Foundation. $16 million to create opportunities for young women in digital media arts. I smooth the paper with my fingertips. The press release goes out tomorrow morning. 16 million? Logan chokes out the number. Named after Miss Rivera, my high school media arts teacher. The woman who attended my gallery showings when my family was too busy. The money is legally protected in a foundation trust. The board approved the allocation last week. Silence falls like concrete across the table. I'm helping girls who never got the applause I didn't get, I say, gathering my belongings. That's what family means to me. Logan's face contorts, veins standing out on his forehead. You're wasting it on strangers, on nobody girls who deserve better than what I got. I snap my briefcase closed. Girls who need someone to invest in them. My parents sit stunned, staring at the paper that represents millions they'll never touch. I pick up my phone, turning the screen toward them. A recording app displays an active timer, 36 to 14, and counting. I've also documented every manipulative message from today, I say quietly. Every threat, every demand, every guilt trip. Just in case anyone gets creative with legal claims against the foundation. I walk toward the door, my footsteps echoing in the silence. Behind me, I hear Logan's chair scrape back violently. You can't just leave, his voice cracks. We need that money. I pause at the threshold, not turning back. No, Logan. What you needed was to show up. At my graduation, at my company launch, at my wedding. I place my hand on the doorknob. But that opportunity has passed. The door closes behind me with a soft click that sounds like freedom. The Porsche purrs beneath me as I drive away from my childhood home, my knuckles no longer white on the steering wheel. The further I get, the steadier my hands become. I press the call button on my dashboard. It's done, I tell Ethan when he answers. They showed exactly who they are. 3. How bad was it? His voice fills the car, concern wrapped around each word. Exactly what we expected. I take a deep breath, feeling lighter than I have in hours. Logan lost his mind when I showed him the foundation paperwork. Dad tried to salvage the situation, but Mom just kept crying about family obligation. Are you okay? A fair question. I glance at myself in the rearview mirror, surprised to find no tears, no flush of embarrassment, only a clear-eyed woman looking back. I'm better than okay. For the first time, I saw them clearly, without hoping for something different. I'm proud of you, Ethan says. Remember, foundation board meeting at 9 tomorrow morning. Everything's ready for the press announcement. The timing had been deliberate. Establish the foundation legally, before any family confrontation. Schedule the announcement before they could regroup. No emotional pleas, just legal structures they couldn't annotate. The Rivera Media Scholarship would be my legacy, not a family drama. I'll be ready, I promise, before ending the call. The first message comes at 11:47 p.m. By midnight, my phone buzzes continuously with family emergency texts. I silence it and place it face down on my nightstand. The house is quiet except for Ethan's steady breath beside me. I don't need to read their messages to know what they contain. Morning brings 6 voicemails from my mother, the progression evident in her tone from weepy pleas about family unity to sharp accusations of betrayal, culminating in threats about what people will think of a daughter abandoning her family in their time of need. You've dealt with worse, I tell myself as I apply mascara, the morning routine grounding me. My navy suit, the one I wore when signing the acquisition papers, hangs ready on the closet door. Ethan hands me coffee in my favorite mug. Logan's been calling business associates, he says, scrolling through his phone. And your dad tried reaching my uncle. Predictable. I take a sip, the coffee bitter but fortifying. They're moving faster than I expected, but not more cleverly. The foundation board meeting goes smoothly. 12 accomplished women from media and finance, all personally vetted, all committed to supporting young female artists. The press release is approved unanimously. Launch details finalized. The first scholarship recipient will be selected in 6 months. I'm reviewing the event venue proposal when Janine from reception calls. Miss Rivers, your family is here. They're causing quite a scene. Through the glass walls of my office, I can see security already moving toward the lobby. I straighten papers that don't need straightening. Have security escort them out, please, calmly and professionally. I watch through the windows as my mother's voice rises over the general office hum. My daughter is abandoning her family. Her hands gesture wildly, her pearl earrings swinging with the motion. Logan stands beside her, arms crossed, face flushed with the particular shade of red it used to turn when he was denied something as a child. My team watches me for cues. I stand, smooth my skirt, and walk to my office door. It's being handled, I tell them with a calm I've practiced for this moment. Let's continue with our work. Security escorts my family toward the elevators. Logan's voice carries back. This isn't over. We have family obligations you can't just ignore. That evening, I draft a single email to all 3 of them. I have documented your harassment at my workplace.
Any further attempts to contact me at my office will result in a formal complaint. All communication regarding family matters must be directed through my attorney, whose contact information is attached. Caroline. Direct and clear, says Patricia, my therapist, 2 days later. We sit in her sunlit office, the faint smell of jasmine tea between us. How did it feel sending that? Necessary. I trace the pattern on the armchair. Not satisfying. Exactly. More like setting a boundary, she offers. Yes, I look up at her. They're showing who they've always been, aren't they? People tend to reveal themselves under pressure, Patricia says. What you're seeing now isn't new behavior, just intensified. The realization washes over me, simple but profound. I wanted their love, but they wanted my resources. That's an important distinction. All those years, my voice trails off as connections form. The childhood neglect, the absent parents, the way they appeared only when I had something to offer. It wasn't my job to earn their love. It was their job to give it freely, clearly. And now? Now I know I'm not responsible for fixing them, I say, feeling the truth of it settle in my bones. There's freedom in that. The next morning brings news that Logan has contacted the Portland Chronicle about a family dispute. The reporter, smarter than Logan anticipated, asked why none of them attended my wedding. The resulting story paints a picture Logan hadn't intended, of parents absent during milestones, suddenly interested when money appeared.
My mother's social media rant generates an unexpected wave of support for me. Former classmates, business associates, even distant relatives reach out with messages of solidarity. We always wondered why they never talked about your success, writes a cousin I haven't seen in years. Richard's attempts to contact my investors fizzle when they refuse to discuss a personal matter. The community rallies around the Scholarship Foundation instead, with applications already pouring in months before the official launch. The Portland Business Journal requests an interview about the foundation. I agree. Setting clear parameters, we'll discuss the scholarship's purpose and impact, not family matters. The reporter, Delia Warren, meets me at the foundation's temporary office space. This is an impressive initiative, she says, reviewing the prospectus. $16 million is substantial seed funding. What inspired such generosity? I consider my words carefully. I had a teacher who saw potential in me when others didn't. Miss Rivera changed my life by simply paying attention. I want to create that opportunity for young women who might otherwise be overlooked. You've built an impressive career, Delia notes. Crescent Motion's acquisition was one of the biggest tech stories last year. Is your family proud? The question hangs between us. I could dodge it, redirect to safer territory. Instead, I meet her eyes directly. My success was built without family support. They weren't at my wedding, my graduation, or when I sold my company. Delia's pen pauses. That provides interesting context for the foundation's mission. Later that week, the article appears with the headline, "Self-Made Success Creates Legacy of Support." The contrast between my generosity and my family's entitlement becomes public narrative. When news of Logan's house foreclosure breaks days later, the community connects the dots without me saying a word. Ethan handles increased security protocols at our home. My business team manages communication strategy, filtering messages and prioritizing foundation work. Naomi Blake, my first investor and mentor, releases a statement supporting my commitment to lifting others rather than enabling dependency. My college friends form a protective circle, filling our calendar with dinners and events that leave no room for dwelling on family drama. Patricia provides anchoring during weekly sessions. The United Front becomes its own kind of family, chosen, intentional, supportive. 2 weeks after the confrontation, I received the Business Leadership Award from the Women in Media Alliance. Standing at the podium, looking at faces that genuinely celebrate my success, I realize the tables have completely turned. My parents' retirement plans are now delayed indefinitely. Hannah's social position in her precious country club circles has eroded with their financial collapse. Logan's twins will transfer to public school next semester. Meanwhile, the foundation thrives, generating positive coverage that spreads beyond Portland. The story resonates not because I sought revenge, but because I chose to transform pain into purpose. The scholarship committee has selected 3 finalists for the first award, Janine tells me, placing the portfolios on my desk. They'd like your input by Friday. I open the first file and begin reviewing the work of a young woman whose teacher noticed her talent when no one else did. The circle completes itself, healing through action rather than looking backward. Family defined by what it does, not what it claims to be. For the first time in my life, I feel truly seen. In weeks to follow, I deleted the 4th voicemail from Aunt Meredith without listening past her plea of, "Everyone misses you, Caroline." The Thanksgiving invitation sits in my email inbox. Its subject line, "Family needs to be together," a transparent attempt at manipulation. My phone chimes with a text from my cousin Drew. "I don't understand this rift between you and Uncle Richard. Can't you just talk to them?" Ugh,
Of course he doesn't understand. He wasn't at my empty wedding. He didn't witness 20 years of invisibility. A letter arrived yesterday from Mom, the elegant handwriting unmistakably hers. "We always believed in you," she wrote, as if rewriting our entire history. The envelope sits half-burned in my fireplace, its edges curled and blackened like the lies it contains. Dad called my office directly last week. "We need to clear the air," he said, his voice lacking any acknowledgement of what they'd done. My assistant, following strict instructions, told him I was unavailable, permanently. The final straw comes when Logan sends the twins to my office with handmade cards. "We miss Aunt Caroline," written in childish handwriting I know isn't theirs. The manipulation is so transparent it makes my stomach turn. They're using every emotional lever they can find, Ethan observes that evening, examining the cards on our kitchen counter. They're desperate. I flip through the week's collection of attempts, but they still haven't actually apologized. The family attorney calls next, his voice professionally neutral. "There are moral obligations to consider, Caroline. Family ties carry certain responsibilities. The implication is clear. I'm the villain in their story, the heartless daughter who abandoned her struggling family. Pastor Wilson from the church I stopped attending years ago leaves a voicemail. Your parents are deeply concerned. Perhaps we could meet to discuss reconciliation. 2 childhood friends, neither of whom I've spoken to in a decade, suddenly reach out. Your parents seem so heartbroken, says one. The holidays are for forgiveness, says the other. When Logan's wife Hannah sends emails photos of the twins in Halloween costumes, the children ask about you constantly. I nearly throw my phone across the room. They're framing this entire situation as my responsibility, I tell my therapist during our weekly session. My forgiveness, my duty, my failure to be the bigger person. "And how does that make you feel?" she asks, her eyes steady on mine. "Angry," I admit, but also validated. They wouldn't fight this hard if they weren't afraid of losing control. The foundation selection meeting provides an unexpected challenge. The committee recommends a scholarship for Maya Harrison, a 17-year-old filmmaker whose application video shows remarkable talent and painful familiarity. "She reminds me of myself," I tell Ethan that night. Quiet, determined, overlooked. I watch her interview video again. Maya's eyes hold the same weariness I see in my own wedding photos. She talks about finding her voice through filmmaking when her family couldn't hear her. What if I'm wrong to cut them off completely? The question slips out before I can stop it. Ethan sits beside me on the couch. What brought this on? Maya? If I'm telling these girls to find their strength, am I modeling that by running away from my family? Is setting boundaries running away? Ethan asks. I consider this. No, boundaries aren't abandonment. What would you tell Maya if her family treated her like yours treated you? The answer comes easily. I tell her she deserves people who see her worth. The Thursday before Thanksgiving, I host dinner at our home. The dining room table extends to accommodate everyone. Ethan beside me, Naomi across from us, my business team scattered between. Maya sits at the opposite end, her scholarship certificate framed on the sideboard behind her. Our home glows with warmth my parents' house never had. Candles flicker in silver holders. Laughter rings against the ceiling.
No one here needs to prove their worth to be seen. I raise my glass. To those who see us as we are. The toast echoes around the table. My phone stays off, notifications silenced. The meal unfolds in perfect rhythm, conversations flowing without the undercurrent of judgment I grew up with. Over dessert, I announce the Foundation's new mentorship program. I'll be personally involved with each recipient, I explain. We're creating connections that matter. Maya's eyes widen. You'll be mentoring us yourself? Every step of the way, I smile at her. This foundation isn't just about money. It's about building something meaningful together. Naomi nods approvingly. You've created structures that can't be interfered with. The foundation's independence is legally secured, I confirm. Its success will be measured by impact, not approval. Later, as we clear plates, Ethan turns on the local news. Right on schedule, the feature about the foundation airs, strategically timed to coincide with my family's traditional dinner hour. On screen, I speak with confidence I've earned. We build family through action, not obligation. The report transitions to financial analysis, contrasting the foundation's transparent governance with examples of mismanagement, including a not-so-subtle reference to Logan's business failures. Maya watches, transfixed. They're actually comparing your brother's company to the foundation? Facts speak for themselves. I stack dessert plates with steady hands. The community has validated what my family refused to see.
The following morning, my parents request a meeting at a coffee shop downtown. I arrive in the Porsche, the car that triggered their sudden interest after years of silence. Dad looks older than I remember, defeat etched into lines around his mouth. "We should have been there," he admits, staring at his untouched coffee. "At the wedding?" I ask, though I know that's not all he means. "Everywhere," his voice cracks. "All those years." Mom's eyes shimmer with tears. "How can we fix this?" The question hangs between us. 3 months ago, I might have grabbed at this opening, desperate for any acknowledgement. Now I feel only calm clarity. Some things can't be fixed, I tell them, only accepted. Mom flinches. "I'm not closing the door forever," I continue, "but I need accountability, not convenience. I'll consider limited contact after you both start therapy." "That's unnecessary," Dad begins, the old dismissiveness rising. "It's non-negotiable." I sip my tea, the warmth spreading through my chest like certainty. They exchange glances, the silent communication of people who never expected consequences for their choices. Logan's financial collapse has stripped away their illusions of his superiority. My success exists beyond their reach. The foundation thrives independent of their approval. When they leave, no agreements have been made, no concessions offered. I watch them walk to their car, a sensible sedan now, the luxury vehicle's long gone. I drive away without looking back, freedom replacing obligation in every beat of my heart. The foundation awaits. Maya's project needs review. My chosen family expects me for dinner. For the first time, I'm moving towards something instead of away from someone, and that makes all the difference. I stand in the sunlit studio of the Crescent Foundation, watching Maya adjust her camera settings. The morning light filters through the tall windows, casting golden patterns across the polished hardwood floor. It's been a year since I faced my family for the last time. "What do you think about this angle?" Maya looks up, her eyes bright with the same creative fire Miss Rivera once saw in mine. "Try moving it slightly to the left. Catch how the light falls across the subject." My voice carries the confidence of a mentor now, not the desperate plea of a daughter seeking approval. On the wall behind Maya, photos document our scholarship recipients' projects, stories they never could have told without the foundation's support. Each frame represents a voice that might have been silenced, just as mine nearly was. My office here replaced the childhood bedroom where I once dreamed of being seen. Every element, from the ergonomic chair to the awards displayed without apology on floating shelves, I chose deliberately. Nothing inherited, nothing tainted by obligation or guilt. "I finished the final cut of my documentary," Maya says, straightening up. "Would you watch it with me?" We move to the editing bay where her project plays on the high-definition monitor. The documentary follows 3 generations of women in a rural Oregon family, their struggles and resiliences beautifully captured through Maya's lens. Watching her work, I feel a swell of pride entirely different from anything I've known before. This isn't about me. It's about what she's created, what she'll continue to create. When the final credits roll, Maya turns to me, tears brightening her eyes. "You're the reason I believe I can do this," she says, wrapping her arms around me in a spontaneous hug. I think of Miss Rivera, how she recognized something in me when my own parents couldn't be bothered, how her belief sustained me through years of family indifference. Now the cycle continues, not of neglect, but of genuine support. Later that week, I stand at the podium of the Portland Arts Center, accepting a Community Leadership Award. The audience applauds. A sea of faces turn toward me with appreciation, not pity. Ethan sits in the front row, beaming with unrestrained pride. There are no empty seats causing me pain tonight. No phantom family members I wish were here. Every person in this room sees me, truly sees me for who I am. "Thank you," I begin, my voice steady. This journey began in invisibility and has led to impact. For years, I measured my worth by the approval I couldn't earn from people who refused to give it. I pause, let my gaze sweep across the room. Now I measure it by what we built together. The standing ovation washes over me like a cleansing wave. My therapist calls it post-traumatic growth, this strange peace I found after accepting that some wounds never fully heal. I maintain careful boundaries with extended family.
Holiday gatherings now center around chosen family, celebrations filled with genuine joy rather than dread. Ethan and I have established our own traditions. Naomi's retirement party at the foundation last month brought together the circles of support that lifted me when blood ties failed. The emergency fund for students facing financial hardship, my latest project, ensures that talent isn't crushed by circumstance. I understand now what these young women need because I lived without it: unconditional belief in their potential. Driving home through Portland in my Porsche, I pass the coffee shop where I once edited videos on a borrowed laptop. Through the window, I catch a glimpse of my parents walking on the sidewalk. Our eyes meet briefly. I don't stop. There's no pain in this moment, only peaceful acknowledgement. They taught me what love isn't. Ethan and my work taught me what it is. Tomorrow, Maya sets up for her next project. I'll be there, camera in hand, showing her techniques I've mastered over years of making myself visible. Family isn't who raises you, it's who lives you.